All right, guys, here's all the problems we've done so far, so you can look over and see what we did. This work at the end over here, this work over here, that was for number 5. So that's how I got that point. We did it in class. It was pretty complicated. All right, let's take a look at some others. Number 8, where do I end up? So it's the change, to find the slope, it's the change of y divided by the change in x. So where was my second y? Where did I start off or end up? I ended up at -2. And I subtract where I started, my first y, so I subtract 2, and that means I changed from 2 to -2, and that means I went down 4. -2 minus 2. On the bottom, I ended up at 6, but I started at 6, so I didn't move sideways at all. 6 minus 6 is 0. So if I don't move sideways at all, that means this line is completely up and down, which is illegal. But more so, you can never divide anything by 0. That's an error. So this slope is undefined. Okay, switch these into slope-intercept form. That's where we need a y equals an x term, something with an x, and then just a number term at the end. Okay, so we need to be able to do this. We need to be able to throw the 3x over to this side. And when we do that, that makes it negative. So we have 2y equals -3x plus 10. But we can't have any number in front of here with the y. So we have to go divide everything by 2. And we have y equals -3 halves x plus 5. And what's the slope? The slope is -3 halves. And where do we y-intercept is +5. Okay, let's do the same thing over here. We need y equals an x term, something with an x, and then just a number term. So let's throw the x over here because the x term needs to be over there. -3y equals -5x because it switches to the other side, minus 12. Divide by -3. And y equals +5/3 x plus 4. So what's the slope? The slope is up 5 over 3. And the y-intercept is +4. All right, same thing over here. This guy needs to go over to go from standard form into slope-intercept, and we get -y equals -3x plus 4. Divide by -1 because we can't have a negative with it, so that just basically y equals 3x minus 4. The slope is 3, the intercept is -4. Okay, down here. Write an equation of the line. If the slope is -3 and the y-intercept equals 4, I'm going to use my slope-intercept form. That's y equals something x and a number. So I've just got y equals -3x because that's where the slope goes, plus 4. Done. That's just knowing what goes where. This goes there, that goes in there. All right, next one. I can use any equation I want. And this one was the point slope. And this one was, all right, so y minus 5 equals -2/3 x plus 6. So anytime, remember this one is the one we did recently. This is where the slope goes. In this form, if you know the slope and 1 point, you can make an equation like this. There's the slope, it goes right there. Remember how we talked about if I take away 6 from the, we said if like I'm playing against somebody, y equals x, and I'm the x. So let's say David versus Jimmy in basketball. D equals J. If I take away 3 from me, that means that if we're playing one-on-one and I start off with -3 points, it really means I'm better than David if we have to take away 3 from me to make it equal. So whenever I see x is -6, then I say, oh, I have to add 6 onto that because he's not very good. And if someone's at 5, I would have to subtract 5 from that to make it equal. So you always do the opposite. I know it's pretty fast, but you can just say y minus the y equals the slope, and then parentheses x minus the x, but minus -6 is actually +6. So really quickly, you can do that. If I distributed this, this would be y minus 5 equals negative 2/3 x minus 4. And then I would add the 5, y equals negative 2/3 x plus 1. So I can easily change it from this to this, but they are equal equations. So right away, I couldn't really know from up there how to go from this form directly to this form, but I can, knowing slope and point, go directly to this form. So this is the right answer. All right. Points, if it's parallel to 2/3 x plus 7, then it's the line I'm looking for is parallel, so it has the same slope. So I'm going to steal 2/3 as the slope. And if it goes through this point, then I know I can say y minus 3, because there's the y, there's the x, equals the slope that I want, 2/3, and then the x plus 2. And that's it. So if this is called point slope form, and we just say y minus whatever point the y is with equals the slope, and then the x minus whatever the x is with, or whatever x point we're trying to hit. So the 3 goes in there, the negative 2 goes in there, and the slope goes right there. That's a different form. So we know 3 forms so far. All right, so in this, if you see an equation like that, you're easily able to tell the slope. The slope is negative 4/5. That's where we find it in this form, in point slope form. And if I'm taking 5 away from the y, that must mean a coordinate that I know has 5 as the y coordinate. And if I'm adding 101, that means a negative 101 is going to be a point that this goes through. So basically, graphs want to go through 0, 0, and this moves it 101 to the left, and this moves it 5 up. Okay, let's see this one. The slope is negative 2, because that's the slope right there. And one point that this thing goes through is x is positive 6, and y is positive 5. All right, that's how quickly these can be done, and that's it. So we know three ways to write a line. Y equals an x term and a number term. So that's called point slope. Nope, sorry. That's called slope intercept. We know like 3x plus 2y equals a number. That's called standard form. They each have their reasons why we use that. And then we have what we just did right now. Y minus 1 equals 2/3 x minus 4. And this is point slope. They all are ways to give a graph. So if you know the slope and the y-intercept, use this one. This one is probably the easiest way to write a lot from word problems. We talked about that in class. And then point slope is the easiest way to write if they give you 1 point. In this case, they would have given you 4, 1, and they would have given you a slope of 2/3. Then you can easily make that right away. All right. Good luck, and later.